Cast on all of Long Island, Monte and the Pharaoh.
Monte and the Pharaoh. Monte and the Pharaoh.
The Monte and Pharaoh Show.
And you're watching the Monte and Pharaoh Show.
Monte and the Pharaoh.
With Monte and the Pharaoh.
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 Monte and Pharaoh.
Monte and the Pharaoh.
And Monte and the Pharaoh. Oh, is it Monte and the Pharaoh?
Monte and Pharaoh.
The Monte and the Pharaoh Show.
Monte and the Pharaoh.
You've got the future Hall of Famer, that rocker, Marty Jannetty, and MJ in the house, and I'm sitting here with two more future Hall of Famers, Monte and the Pharaoh. We're doing that stuff and we gonna rock it.
Not just dreaming it, we're doing it for real. Straight to the top. Working hard every day just to leave out that tower.
Back to a special episode of Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monte and the Pharaoh. And we have a full house here today, and none other than replacing Jimmy Farrow today, because Jimmy's actually working. He got stuck. You are now Hollywood Farrow. Welcome, Hollywood Farrow. How are you? Good to see you.
I'm good. How are you?
And do you want to introduce the other guests on the couch?
Yes, I brought two people with me today, and I have the lovely Miss Oyanka with me, and then I did say I was going to bring a Glow special guest. Mm-hmm. A Glow special guest, and that is my good friend and head writer for the Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling, producer / referee, Stephen Blantz.
Stephen, welcome, and Lady O, welcome. Thank you guys for coming in. So, Stephen, you wrote for the Glow episodes from the get-go?
From the get-go. I was hired as a comedy writer. I was a comedy writer in radio here, doing radio in New York, and I wanted to get into television, and at the time, they said, you want to do television, you got to go to the West Coast.
What year was that?
It was 1986, January. I went out, and there was an ad in one of the trade papers, the Hollywood Reporter, Daily Variety, that was looking for a comedy writer, and it didn't say what for. And it turned out to be Glow.
Wow.
And they wanted, originally the pilot, Hollywood will bear this out, the pilot didn't have comedy sketches.
No, we had to come up with our own lines.
It was just 1 hour of wrestling, of women's wrestling.
All right, so bring that back a little bit. So you go in there, and then you just came up with your own...
Yeah, pretty much on the pilot. I remember we were in Las Vegas, and our director, Matt Simber, said, just go in front of the camera and start talking, and I'm talking about what? Talk about the character, who you're going to wrestle. There was nothing scripted, remember? And I go, can I say anything?
Well, because you did, because I watched you dropped F-bombs like
I did.
Crazy. I was like, holy cow, she's just dropping them.
Because here I am, I've not been on television a day in my life. Mm-hmm. I don't come from an acting background. I don't know.
Right.
This is someone who has a regular job, 8 to 5, and I go, can I say anything? Yes, you can say anything. I go, are you sure?
Yeah.
We're going to kick their beep, beep, ass. Beep,
yeah, you were on fire. I was like, holy cow.
Me and Vine, we think you're sluts.
No, that was the original pilot. So did they air that and bleep it out?
Yes.
So they did air it and bleep it out.
It was actually the first thing you heard. Every show started in the beginning with clips of the girls, and it was supposed to be, when I get my hands on so-and-so,
Yeah.
I'm going to this.
Tear them apart, blah, blah,
instead
blah,
of
blah.
saying today's matches will be, it was the girls saying, I'm going to fight so-and-so
Gotcha.
and do this, that.
That's how
so
you
it said,
introduced
I'm
it.
going to do this, I'm going to do that. And the first thing you heard on the first show that aired was, we're going to kick their, and they
bleeped it out. Which is good, though, right?
Oh, yeah, it really actually caught on. That got everybody's attention. They said, wait a minute.
What is this?
So
Right.
how does the pilot work, though? So you make the pilot, and then what? You start shopping it around
Right.
to all the TV
Yeah, so we
venues?
went to something called NAPI, National Association of TV Programming and Entertainment. I believe that's what
I
it's
think
called.
it was program executive.
Executives. So they picked 4 of us to go to New Orleans in January. It was Matilda the Hun, Tammy Jones, Americana, and myself.
Okay.
With David McLean and with Matt Simber. We were the only 4 that represented our little show. We had a nice booth. We had the VHS going and the rap music going in the background, and we knew that the buyers are the ones with the blue tags.
Okay.
So we wanted them to come, those are the buyers of the show. They would slowly come into the booth, and all I remember is after the 3 or 4 days that we were there in New Orleans, I got a call the end of January that said, pack your bags, we sold the show, we're filming in Las Vegas. So I gave my regular work 2 months notice, and I never looked back.
Wow, that's cool. Yeah. So they sell the show.
Yep.
They tell you what they sell the show for, and then they say you'll get paid this?
No,
or
no,
nothing?
that was already really negotiated, I think, beforehand.
So you quit your job not knowing how much money you were
I
going to
didn't
get
care.
for the show? Wow, look at you. That's
When
some
you're
balls.
21, 22 years old and you have an opportunity to be in front of a camera and starring on a TV show that you didn't even know was about wrestling, because
Right.
first of all, that audition, we had no idea. I came home from lunch, there's a message, I either got a beeper going off and checked my messages, and the agent, who had only worked for one time, said there is an audition at 6 o'clock at the Hyatt on Sunset. It's for a sports show.
Gotcha.
Didn't say what the sport was
Right.
until we got there. And then when they mentioned it was wrestling, I don't know anything about, I didn't. I was very athletic. I played softball and volleyball. My dad was my coach. I lettered in center field and was a pitcher, and thank you very much. And I knew that if it's going to be sports, I should be able to do it. But when they said, when David McLean said this is about women's wrestling, I'm telling you, a third of the ladies walked with their pictures and resumes and walked out the door. That scared me.
Let's cut, but that.
What do they know? What don't I know?
Yeah,
what do they know?
right.
I don't know.
Yeah, sure.
What's going to happen here? So
I think there was
scary.
stigma though with professional wrestling, so they probably didn't want to ruin. Like maybe they thought they had a career, they didn't want to ruin it.
I think
type
that
of thing.
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then remember, this is 85. No, 86. 85.
Pilot
was
done in
85.
85.
December of 85. Right.
Now you were getting paid for this though, right?
I actually was not part of the pilot. They originally did it as 1 hour of women's wrestling, and then they decided they wanted to add the sketches, the raps. There were no raps in the original one.
But
So-
I do want to interject that we were getting paid for training. So I had my regular job 8 to 5, then Monday, Wednesday, and Friday 7 to 10 paid.
Gotcha.
And I noticed that every time I would come back and I'd be friends with this girl, she wasn't back. I was friends with another girl. Where'd she go? So they were slowly weeding out the girls, and they had 12 character names already picked out, and they were looking for girls to, they wanted to match their personalities with these characters. And I'm thinking, please don't give me one that I'm not going to be familiar with.
Don't make me the Louisiana cowgirl.
I was going to say
Right.
something like that,
Yeah.
the farmer's daughter. Yeah, I was. And I said, I can, I think I will relate to Tina and Ashley or Hollywood and Vine. And when he said, Jeannie, you're Hollywood, I'm like, yes!
Yeah, right.
I can relate to her. So they did really well, I think, matching up our characters.
Now, how did you get along with Vine?
Very well. I mean, we didn't know each other, so we got along
Because you
pretty
tagged
well.
for like 3 years, right?
2.5.
2.5. Okay, yeah.
But towards the end, when they put, and I'm being honest,
Okay.
when you put somebody in the same room, in the same sketches, in the same matches, your hair's in my way. Oh, well, your hair's in my way.
Right.
Oh, yeah, it got like sisters, and so it's putting people. You got to give them some space to breathe a little bit, and then she left, and then I started tagging with others and doing my own matches, singles,
right,
which was great.
Now, did you see this going further for yourself? Are you kind of using this to be a stepping stone?
I thought it
move
at
on
first.
to some other acting.
Well, I knew that I was a bigger fish in this smaller pond because it was wrestling. And back in that time, I didn't know any of my friends who were wrestlers. They wanted to be models and actresses. And there was a lot of competition there. So I'm like, this is a good gig. I'm on TV. They're not. I'm doing Married with Children. I'm doing the show with the Donahue Show. So I was digging it.
Yeah.
I was loving it. And so I did the pilot and then all 4 seasons of that show. And I did a hell of a lot of interviews, didn't I, Steve? Lots.
Steve, how was it handling all these women and the scripts? Whether they argue about what you wrote for them? Was it a big problem?
They never argued about it, but interestingly enough, a couple of them counted lines. Who had more lines?
Ooh, please tell.
Who had more? We're in the most sketches, right?
Really?
It actually became competitive, and
that's interesting.
About middle of the second season, we started doing a thing because McLean had left with some of the girls, and we needed a new way to introduce new characters. And I was born a ham, am still a ham, and will die a ham. And I started getting recognized for being the referee that people smacked around. So when they said, well, McLean's gone, what are we going to do? How do we start the show? I said, I have an idea. It'll be their locker room, and I'll knock on the door and say, quiet down, get ready for your matches. Someone will bump into me, and I'll mouth off to them, and they'll smack me around.
Which we did.
And we did. And I always thought, in the ring, they were pulling their punches and kicks. When they were doing the opening with me, they were laying into me. So I think they were getting back for all the jokes I did at their expense, saying so-and-so is so fat or so-and-so looks like this, that, and the other thing. But it was a ball.
And I think we had a good group of girls. You were saying this earlier. I don't remember. You know, we pretty much did what you told us to do. You know, you said, Hollywood, you're going to do this. Oh, I'm wrestling her again. They put me against the farmer's daughter too many times, but those were great matches. And we truly didn't care for each other because we went to the same high school.
Really?
And we knew the same people. So when you have that going on and you're only 20 years old.
Wait a minute, so you're at the same, so you both try out at the same time?
Yeah,
and you
she tried out after me. I did the pilot.
So
well, we had no idea, but she was 3 years younger, so I didn't go to school with her.
Gotcha.
But we knew the same people in our town.
Mm-hmm.
So now you put these two girls together, and she wants to beat the crap out of me, and I want to do the same to her, and I want to win. And heels did not win so much back then. Remember? See, it was like...
Well, it mirrored wrestling at the time. Most of the time, the babies wound up, if
winning.
There was a feud, babies won. You would drag it out. And, of course, the girls, not knowing wrestling, didn't understand, why am I fighting her again?
Yeah.
So you were trying to follow the actual script of, like, regular professional wrestling,
that
right?
was my thing. I think I just hit the microphone. But that was my thing, to try and make it as much like regular wrestling as possible.
Right.
So, in other words, you had feuds, and we did things then that WWE is just doing now, 30 years later. Mm-hmm. We did
the tag team
girls battle royal, Texas tornado matches, Falls Camp, all with women because
no holds barred.
Right. I was a fan from the time I was 10 years old. I mean, I go back to when Bruno was champ the first time.
Awesome.
The first time. So it was all in here, and I said, it has to look like a real wrestling show. Great it's women, great you got costumes, great you got gags, you got songs, sketches. The wrestling has to be like a regular wrestling show. So that's why we had feuds. That's why Fiji and Matilda was a natural.
Always against
you
and Sally.
And Sally, or Hollywood and Vine versus Tina and Ashley.
Boy. Right.
And everybody remembers these, but that was to build feuds.
But you got away with a lot of stuff. You like
the first and second season.
You had the older, the ones that wore the forgive me for saying this, those KKK men.
Yeah,
I was
the
like,
masks.
holy cow. Like, I remember back then, I was like, how are they getting away with this?
We did.
You could not do glow now
The way we
No.
did
the
it
way
then.
we did it then.
No way.
Where we had Chainsaw and Spike, who were really sisters, the heavy
Yes.
metal sisters, incredibly creative.
Talented.
And they did a thing where they fought Ebony, who was, she played a African-American model,
Yes.
and the farmer's daughter, and they put a watermelon in the ring.
They cut it first. First of all,
But with
they
the chainsaw.
They took the chainsaw, sliced it in half, and they put it on her head. Oh my God! I was like, and that back then, even to me, I'm like, ooh,
Are you uncomfortable? Like,
a little
oh my
bit.
God,
yeah.
this is like, wow.
Yeah, I feel so bad for yes, as a talent,
But
as
we
the
never
performer.
forced anybody
No.
to do that. We never.
No.
If someone was found it objectionable, I don't want them to do that to me.
Did you have anybody object to any of your skits?
No,
I don't think so.
no, nobody ever objected.
I even did the Deutschland,
With
Uber alles.
Matilda, I had to teach Hollywood and Vine Deutschland über alles. Because Matilda then we had a Gestapo match,
Right.
which wasn't well known in WWE, but McLean came from the Midwest, Dick the Bruiser's promotion, and they had Gestapo matches. Because their lead heel was Baron von Raschke, if you remember him.
Of course, the Claw.
And he came in goose. He had a cape, he had the swastika, and he came in goose stepping. So they had a Gestapo match. So McLean said, "We're going to do a Gestapo match." He said, "Okay." So Hollywood and Vine were Matilda's cohorts, and they had
Seconds.
like Nazi SS
We had to go
outfits.
shopping for that stuff.
Where did you find that? Kmart?
No, we went
Excuse
to Los
me,
Angeles.
swastika, please.
No, we went to Matt took Vine and myself to some warehouse actual prop place, and we got to go wild through there. Oh, these chains look good. The gas mask.
Oh, my God.
The file for the neck. Oh my God. We purchased
Nazi outfits.
and Nazi
Yeah, it's
outfits.
crazy.
And swastikas.
Yeah.
And they did a Gestapo match.
Oh my gosh.
And since they were
Our
Matilda
flags.
the Hun's cohorts, he said, "Well, they have to come out singing Deutschland über alles."
Yes.
They didn't. I had to teach them Deutschland über alles,
Yes.
but when they sang it, it sounded like the On Wisconsin fight song, but it still worked. But the end, if you remember the end of the match,
Yes, I pick up
Fiji rips off the swastika and spits on it and throws it in the ground, and Americana takes the flag, was the Nazi flag,
Right.
and breaks it over her
knee.
knee.
She does.
So it's like good prevailed, and it
But
was
I picked
put
up the
down.
white flag and started hitting it over, so we've lost because Hollywood picks up the white one by accident because she's trying to get Fiji off of Matilda to
Right.
save her. But in the meantime, we're surrendering.
There you go. So it's a little
Tried
bit
to play
different
the
then, though,
idiot.
right? So you sold it to local stations, and I guess they sold advertisement, and they just
How many?
paid for your show, right?
It was done through syndication.
Yeah.
We had a syndicator, and they would sell it to X number of markets, and they would put it on whenever they wanted.
Did you ever get complaints, though, for some of these storylines?
Yes.
I could imagine.
Yes, we got complaints.
Later, though, do we not get the complaints until season 2 or 3?
Well, that's what I mean. I remember vividly watching. So I think season 1, when I caught on late, it was like, whatever. And then I really was like, this is really awesome stuff. And then season 2 was like, holy cow, this is really good. I think that's probably what went down. It caught on. It took a while to catch on.
Yeah, or to find it too, because it was on really late.
We had it New York. We had Channel 11. I think at like 11 in the morning. PIX.
Oh,
yeah.
11 for you.
Originally, I can tell you everything. Originally, we were on at midnight.
Yes.
Okay.
That's when I
Channel
remember.
11, Saturday nights at midnight, and the ratings were so good, they switched it and put it Saturdays at noon.
Okay.
And we
Channel
got that in
11.
California
That's right.
too on KCOP 13, so they mirrored each other.
And I found out, if you remember the 80s, 86, the New York Mets got to meet Davey Johnson. I actually worked with him on a project, and he told me Met games started at 1. Glow was on in the clubhouse
Yeah.
at 12.
That's
and
funny,
the
man.
Mets were watching.
Oh, I love it.
So no
watching
wonder they
below.
sucked.
No, that way 86 was the championship.
Oh, so wait a minute. So now it's
right.
even worse. You took probably the greatest team that should have won about 5 World Series, and you only won 1, thanks to your scripts.
Because of me. Yeah, well, what can I say? But it was funny because they would ask questions about it.
Yeah.
They asked, how did you fake Susie Spirit dislocating her elbow? And the answer was,
I know
we
the real
didn't.
answer.
It really happened.
Yeah.
But again, you think all of wrestling is fixed, so they thought it was a gimmick.
Right.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
So, Lady O, we're not forgetting you. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Oh, there's not much to tell. I have a very boring life.
Well,
You're a good bodyguard.
you're a
that's
true
for sure.
badass, that's for sure.
Yeah, I do.
Boxer?
I used to do boxing. I used to do kickboxing. Never did it professionally. I did it underground. That's pretty much
So underground, so I knew this
Does that
about
mean
you.
kicking
So
someone's
you,
butt?
you got paid
In a parking lot?
underground
I got
gambling
paid.
for kickboxing, right?
She was MMA before there was MMA.
Oh, yeah. The true fighter.
Yeah.
But you were never a wrestler.
No.
You were just, what do you think of being a true fighter against, what did you think about professional wrestling?
I enjoyed it as a kid. You know, and actually one of my favorites is Razor Ramon, Scott Hall.
He was in studio.
Yes, I know.
Not a big fan, but go ahead.
Hey,
I'm sorry.
that's
Don't
my
beat
future
me up.
husband.
Watch out, she has a baseball bat hiding somewhere.
That's my future husband. No. I enjoyed watching it together with my cousin
Yeah.
and a couple of my friends. But we knew that everything was choreographed.
Mhm.
But we still liked it.
Yeah.
And yes, it's totally different than boxing and kickboxing because in kickboxing and boxing, you're actually taking the hit.
Yeah.
So what kind of betting went down on underground fighting?
I'm not supposed to say.
Don't worry about it. It's only 20,000 people watching eventually.
I'm not supposed to say, but it was good money. That's
Yeah?
what I paid for college.
Did you ever get people,
good.
if you lost, they wanted to attack you or something like that? They lost a lot of money?
Yes.
How often did you lose?
Not
Never?
very often.
That's
I would say
awesome.
like twice.
So how do you two hook up? What's this all about?
Well,
She needed a bodyguard.
I needed a bodyguard, yes.
Why do you need a bodyguard?
We became friends online.
Yeah. And you said, hey, I need a bodyguard.
No. That's not how it started. Did not start that way at all. We weren't even friends. I just kind of messaged her. I can't even say the word. Facebook messaging. I can't say that word. Messengered her. It's been a long day, you guys. And we started talking. Back and forth, kind of learning about each other.
Right.
Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, she's cool. You know, I'm like, she'd be
But she said I need a bodyguard.
I know. I came here for. I was coming into town, into New York for. Was it WrestleCon or Big Event? It was one of them. Big Event at LaGuardia's.
It was a big event.
It was Big Event, and she picked me up, and we hung out, had dinner, visited someone with our baseball bats. No, we didn't. No, we just became friends, and we've been friends ever since.
You have a lot of followers. People love you, right? You go to all these events. How do you like dealing with the fans? Are they all nice to you, or?
I would say 99.9. They're all, if they're coming to your table, they're not going to tell you to F off.
Well, I don't mean it. I don't mean it like that.
Yeah, they're nice. They're very nice. They're major fans that come up to the table, and I watched you when I was, and it's just very heartwarming, and I'm always humbled to see these people come up. Oh yeah, and take pictures with them, and
we had
that's
Rosa,
why we do so many of these.
but we had Rosa Mendez here, right, Jim? And Rosa was a little naive with some of the fans. I guess she was, she's like, "Oh, I love my fans, whatever." Right. And we were talking about like, do the fans get out of control a little bit? Like maybe especially on social media, right? How do you handle? Obviously, you probably get 99% good stuff said to you. How do you handle the bad stuff?
Yeah, that's a tough one. You want to keep your mouth shut. You don't want to hurt feelings. Sometimes it's hard to do that.
Does it hurt your feelings?
I have to look at it that some of maybe the 3 or 4 little pebbles that are out there amongst the whole sand of beach shouldn't really bother you. I've noticed that the more popular one is, the more attacks that you get.
Right.
And I just try to handle it. it's hard sometimes.
Yeah, sure.
You know, you're wearing a target on your back all the time.
That's right.
You know,
I mean, we're not nearly like you. We get beat up enough too. So, right?
Did I hurt you?
And the Pharaoh gets on. No, you're pretty tough, but I'm okay. I got a lot of fat, like defending myself. The Pharaoh gets upset a lot when he gets some bad stuff.
You got to take the good with the bad, and if you're going to be in this business, then you have to take both. And sometimes it's harder. I'm being truly honest. Some days are easier than others, but I'm happy. I'm happy-go-lucky. If you ask me something, I'm going to tell you. You may not like the truth, but it is the truth. I say it the way that it is.
Yeah.
Thank you, for everything. And I'm grateful to have had the career that I've had. And with the resurgence of Glow Netflix, even more grateful. Mm-hmm. Have you seen that show?
Have I seen it? I can't stop talking about it. That's all I ever watch. That and This Is Us. I could just sit and watch those two series.
I need to see. I don't know This Is Us.
Are you serious? Oh my God.
This Is Us.
Don't get him crying.
Is this a Netflix or
no? NBC.
He's gonna cry.
9:00 Tuesdays. Okay. You could power watch it. It's probably the best.
On Tuesdays is the Mayans.
Well, you can watch it.
I'm just kidding.
Mayans. Oh my God.
We met some of them at Rhode Island Comic Con.
Did you really?
Yeah, we watched Coco and Angel, which is Richard Cabral and Clayton. I don't know Clayton's, but they were awesome too. They were so nice.
So do you mark out when you see some famous
I try
people?
not to. I just be cool and I don't mark out. I just am nice. Hi, Hollywood from Gorgeous Lady Wrestling. Oh my God, I watched a documentary. I know who you guys are. It starts off just like that, and then it's just talking
you also got a famous partner too.
Fine.
Right? Can you tell everybody out there how you met him and how this?
Oh, my partner. Yes,
yeah,
Ryan.
Your partner.
Yeah, my partner. Oh, Ryan. I met Ryan 2002 in Los Angeles. We were dating, and then he got a job for some more music in Nashville, Tennessee, and I stayed in Los Angeles. We did the back and forth thing forever, which does not work. I thought that he would come back to Nashville, to Los Angeles, and I was thinking I'll go there, but I don't want to leave my family and my everything. And then I ended up moving there in 2012. But Ryan, singer, guitar player, he played with Gene from Kiss. Gene Simmons has a solo band,
right?
So he is one of the guitarists and vocals from Gene's band. And then Ace saw them, and Ace stole Gene's band, but Gene said it was okay because Gene's on the road right now on that last supposedly tour. Mm-hmm. And so he's playing with Ace, and they've done quite a few on the East Coast shows with Ace Frehley.
Now, he played with Hunger Strike, too, right?
I don't know Hunger Strike. I don't know.
In the 90s, they got that whole band together. It was Pearl Jam and...
you talking about Ace or Ryan?
Ryan.
I don't remember that. He played with a band called Hair of the Dog.
Hair of the Dog, that's
right.
right.
He was the singer for that band.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, Hair of the Dog.
That's what I was thinking
about. Then Snake from Skid Row. Mm-hmm. When Snake can't make it, Ryan is the substitute for Snake when he's on the road or doing something else and can't make it. So he was doing all of the Snake stuff, Skid Row, all of that before I met him. I did not meet him in a band situation. We met through some friends. So I walked through the door. Who's that? Ooh. Love at first sight. I said, I will marry that person. And today it's 17 years.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Jealousy? Do you guys get jealous of each other?
Mm-mm.
Not at all.
Mm-mm. I think when you're first meeting someone, there's that little bit of, what do you do? What do you do? But since I'm an entertainer and I've been doing this, and him too, it works perfectly.
Right.
I will get people sometimes going, oh, are you married or do you date a wrestler? I'm like, no wrestlers. But, a musician is kind of the same thing. You're on tour, you're in front of a bunch of people, and it's just a trust situation. If you don't have trust, then you don't have anything. So we don't go to that level. When I get home, who do I want to spend my time with? With you.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
What are you doing? And at lunchtime, I'll take you to lunch. It's just that we have that's special.
That's great.
But then when it's time to go, oh, when are you leaving?
Get out.
Are you leaving? I'm leaving on Friday. Oh, I'm leaving on Saturday. It's a win-win. Yeah, trust is everything.
So let's go back to when you first brought on the Glow show. You have a bunch of beautiful women. Was there a point where they were like, hey, look, be a little more friendly towards the advertisers and that type? Like, nothing like that?
I don't remember that. No. They just let us do our thing. It was just like, go. And as far as dressing, they let us dress the way we wanted to. Like, Hollywood always dressed in lingerie. And I remember there was one place that we went to, and I wasn't allowed to wear the lingerie, so I had to put on Broadway Rose's costume. Somebody asked me, why is Hollywood wearing the one piece?
Mm-hmm.
Remember the purple outfit that
Right,
Broadway
I
Rose?
remember that.
And I was told that they didn't want lingerie on this particular, so Hollywood had to change. And I put on her outfit. But no one ever told us, go schmooze over here, or go do
Nothing
this, or
like
have
that.
dinner. Never.
Well, that's
No,
great.
No.
That's great. So it just stood on its own, right? Was there ever a point where you guys wanted to make a movie out of this? I understand that the
Yes.
Glow documentary came out, and that kind of triggered the series. But did you ever want to take this to a movie level?
Before that,
Go ahead,
yes,
Steve.
there was actual interest in making
A Glow movie.
the movie, which I wrote. I wrote the movie. Matt Simber showed me how you make a co-production deal with Israel. You tell them you already have a deal with Egypt.
Oh, boy.
Wow.
Even though you don't. And Israel says, no, you'll do it here. And before I know it, they are flying me to Israel to scout locations for the script that isn't written yet. And he says, you're going to meet with the head of this film company, I said, Matt, we don't have a script.
It's like a Jerry Seinfeld.
He says, you will write the treatment on the plane.
Wow.
And I wrote that we basically had a story idea. The Glow Girl, remember this is the 80s, the Glow Girls saved the world from international terrorism.
I love
Oh
it.
my God.
And it would
love
be
it.
the lady wrestlers wrestling the terrorists.
What a great cartoon
And-
that would have
and-
made.
And so I write this stream on the plane to Israel, which they had told everybody, oh, this big American producer is coming. So when I get there, people are falling all over me like I'm something. And I walk into and I have literally a stack of pages that I longhand wrote. I walk into the hotel and they're falling. Mr. Balance, is there anything we can do for you? And I hand them this, it's double spaced, bind it, and give me 6 copies.
Wow.
And they wrote it on.
And they did it.
And they did it. And then when I had meetings with whoever, I had a treatment to show them. Later I wrote the script. And since it didn't happen, I'm not telling tales out of school. There was a production company that did the movie Red Scorpion.
I remember.
Dolph Lundgren, after Rocky
Five.
Four.
Five.
Or
Right. Wait a minute.
5? He
4.
was-
You're right. 4. You're right.
They made a movie with him as a Soviet killing machine who single-handedly is destroying Biafra and Somalia. But then he sees the way the poor people are living and starving and all that, and he turns against the Russians. And he fights back. And they said, we made a deal with them, and they say, we're going to take the immediate profits from Red Scorpion and put them in an account to do Glow the movie.
What was it? Glickenhaus Shapiro.
Shapiro Glickenhaus.
That's right.
Okay?
Yeah.
And they said, that's what we're going to do. Well, Red Scorpion opens up, and it is one of the biggest failures in cinematic history. It was laughable because literally there's one scene where Dolph Lundgren has a starving Biafran on each shoulder and a submachine gun going as he's mowing down the Russian tanks and everybody. Nobody wanted to see this movie. I called the theater in Manhattan. I said, what time is it showing? They said, what time can you get here?
Oh my God, poor Dolph.
I walk into the theater and there is one guy there. It is a pervert in a raincoat.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
And
gosh.
me, okay?
Oh, boy.
The
Oh,
movie
no.
starts. After a while, the pervert leaves. The pervert feels violated that he had to watch this movie, and he gets up and leaves. Okay, it makes no money. Okay, there are no immediate profits to put into Glow the movie. Shapiro Glickenhaus is going to be sunk, so they take whatever money they had left to make Frankenhooker.
Well, I remember that.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of that movie.
And Basket Case 3 because there were so many unanswered questions from the first 2.
Wow, that's good.
And that's what happened to Glow the movie.
Oh my God! So you still have those scripts?
I actually had to write 2 versions of it. One has the Glow Girls save the world from international Arab terrorists.
Okay.
And I wrote a version where it's South American terrorists, because depending upon what country was going to bankroll it, if you were going to do it in the Middle East, you couldn't do it against the Arabs.
No. Yeah.
So I had to have a version where it's a banana republic.
Okay.
A banana and I wrote it like, remember the Police Academy movies and the Naked Gun movies.
This would have been so fun.
You see this terrorist, and then the camera pulls down and he's got the fuzzy pink slippers on.
Right.
And it was just little things like that. And the Glow Girls have to go through training to fight terrorists. And the idea was that the terrorists, once a month, the terrorists had a truckload of hookers brought to them, because they're in training and they don't get out. So
we
the
would
Glow
have
Girls
to be
are switched for the hookers.
I love it.
And one of the devices they had was an exploding bra,
which already they did on what's the one?
What was
International Terrorist?
This was
Austin
years
Powers.
before.
Austin Powers.
This is years before.
I know that.
But it was a time bomb bra. So you would set the dials.
Oh my
And
gosh.
throw it, and it would explode. But when the terrorists get the girls, they're feeling them up, and they're actually setting off the thing. And the girls have to stop and readjust the thing so it doesn't explode.
Oh my God!
All this crazy stuff in it. But
with beyond this movie, now you have this Netflix series which is ending. Did you guys ever think about rebooting the whole Glow?
We don't
deal?
own it though.
right,
Sure, we thought about it many years ago.
Yeah.
We don't own it.
So who owns it?
The farmer's daughter.
One of the farmer's daughters owns it.
Yeah.
She
owns
got the name.
And there's no interest in. She has no interest in rebooting this thing. I mean, this is hot right now. You know.
We would love that, but that's trying to get that across to somebody.
Right.
It's difficult. Let's just say that. It's out of our hands. Let's just put it that way.
I don't know. Send Lady O down there to take care of it.
She owns the right, and right now I believe she has an exclusive with Netflix.
Right, so she can't do anything.
She cannot do anything. I don't know how long it lasts.
Oh, so she got paid.
Oh yeah,
she's
the only one that got paid.
Wow.
She got paid, right, and
she subleased the title to Glow Netflix 3 times. And now a 4th time, so she's been paid.
So she was she knew to trademark this before anyone could trademark it?
She just asked, she went up to the owner and said, I'd like to buy this. And he gave it to her. That was all. That's basically.
And who would have thought?
And of course, this was after the show was canceled.
Yeah.
So
everybody's like, it doesn't matter, right?
It doesn't matter. It's over and done with.
Yeah.
And then the documentary came out
years later
and did
2012.
Right, the documentary on Netflix did tremendously, and that's when Netflix is.
And by the way, I don't mean to interrupt you. That is one of the best, just pure pro wrestling documentaries. It's in my top 10. It's so well done.
Thank you. That was Brad and Brett from Houston.
Right.
2 young kids.
But they were fans also. They had watched
They wanted to know what happened to Glow. Let's do our next project about Glow. Right. And they found Ursula first. But they couldn't just do a documentary about her. They met all of us and went, wait a minute, let's interview all of these ladies and put this together.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And then Gingy Cohen from Orange is the New Black saw the 2012 documentary and said, I'm going to do a show.
Right.
Let's
Netflix,
what about this.
It did so well on Netflix.
Yeah. Lots of subscribers.
But they didn't want to involve any of you guys who said, hey,
I don't know what deals were made between maybe Ursula and... We don't know.
We don't know either. And the funny thing is, they used that documentary as a blueprint.
Correct.
And they picked that clean. And not only the documentary, but now there are stories in that mirror stories that happened to the real people.
Right.
And there was one thing that just drove me crazy, too, but it's partially
Personal.
ego on my part, because people were telling me, the Mark Maron character is a combination of you and Matt Simber, the writer and the director,
Right.
a combination. I said, no, it's really the director, the director. Season 3, Maron winds up being the referee,
Yep.
if you remember.
Yep.
Yes.
And he always had a beard in the first 2 seasons. He didn't have a beard in season 3. Him in the ring, in the referee's outfit with the mustache and aviator glasses.
Was you.
Somebody online saw an old glow and actually wrote, boy, that guy really looks like Mark Maron.
Wow. That's pretty funny. Well, you got to be happy with...
We are.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh, I look at it as a win-win. And that Glow brand back to us is a win-win. I embrace it. Would we love to be on that show? Of course.
I really think you could do it. I really think you
we
could
could
do
give
a
the
reboot.
stories that I could give alone. I did the pilot and all 4 seasons. I could, and I'm a bad girl, and I was told not to do lots of things. And when Matt said no, ding, that meant yes in my mind. And we were, poor guy, because, trying to get 30 girls together in one place. We had curfews at 12 midnight. Did I make curfew? Lots of trouble. Hollywood was. When they picked Hollywood, they knew the genie would be Hollywood and Hollywood would be genie.
Would you think that you're probably the most successful out of all the Glow girls?
I thought that Lisa Moretti was the most successful because she went on.
She went on to the WWE.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hall of Famer.
Hall of Famer, 3 times,
Yes.
3 times women's champ.
Yeah.
Did you ever think you were going to transition to that as something you didn't want?
So when WWF at the time had come into our town, I was right in the middle of a broken leg, but I didn't want to tell them about the broken leg. So I went down to the audition. I get in the ring. I decided to wear sweatpants because I had my leg was so atrophied. I didn't want them to see it. Plus, I was limping really bad. So once I got up there, and Jim Ross was down there with 3 other guys, and they're asking me all these questions. And I just told them that, I said, Monte Guerrero was my trainer. And I go, oh, Mondo, asking me this. And then I just told them the truth. I said, I'm sorry, I'm right in the middle of a broken leg. And that was it. But this is what I think. I think if I really, really wanted the next level, I would have done it. For 4 years, I couldn't be a 20-year-old. I just wanted to have a regular life, have a boyfriend, go out. And I didn't want to be have my director be my dad everywhere, and that's what it was. We were on a short leash for 4 years, and I was like burnt out. However, once it was like pulled away from me, I'm like, well, wait a minute.
What do I do?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I did a lot of independent circuit wrestling as well. Then I got into stunt work and little things like that.
Well, let's talk about pop culture. So you were on Married with Children.
Yes.
Saved by the Bell.
Yes.
So I'm a big Saved by the Bell guy. Even though I'm too old for that show, but
we both are.
Yeah, I'm way too old for that show, but I watched it anyway.
Some of those kids were at the Rhode Island Comic-Con, so it was kind of cool. But
so
Screech.
So
yeah, we both said
tell
it
me what's wrong
time.
with Screech.
He's a huge Glow fan. He loved Hollywood. I was down there on the beach, and he laid his towel out next to me. Oh, huge Glow.
Did you see the inner workings of that whole group?
No, I didn't work on it. I worked on it a day.
Just one day.
One day. That's it. Just
wow.
As a day player on that day, and it was fun.
How about Married with Children?
I love that show. That was so great. When I'll tell you, the audition that we had. Usually, when you do an audition, you have several women in the room with their scripts. So Ursula and myself went there, and I didn't see a lot of women sitting down. We walked into the office, and I saw the 2 executive producers. But as we walked in, they're here. All their writers are in the room with us. Made me more nervous. Hi. We love the show. We're fans. Holly would read the line first, and then Ursula follow up. Read it, Ursula, this way. Holly would read it this way. Okay, guys, we'll see you on Monday morning at 9:30. Her and I walk out the door to the restroom. Oh, my God, we didn't have to audition in front of everyone. They already knew they wanted us.
Yeah.
So no one told us that. So that was amazing. And Ed O'Neill was probably the funniest people I've ever met in my life. I'm trying to sit there and not laugh while he's wrestling Big Bad Mama. He was so believable and so funny, you guys. You just had to be there. And we were there for a week. We did the Thursday was like what is it called? The testing, like we had the run through cameras and stuff. Yeah, blocking cameras and blocking. And Friday was the live audience, just like Glow. Oh, it was so great.
Live audiences, Glow. You have any control problems? Because you had a smaller audience, right? But
no, we had a pretty for Glow.
Yeah, how big were the audiences there?
It was free for everybody to come in. It was pretty
free, but they had hundreds, and
they would wait in line to see us.
When we would go, the way the Riviera Hotel worked, you couldn't go directly to the ring. You'd have to come down and around. And when I would go down, people were lined up from the entrance to our arena, which was a small showroom,
right,
down the stairs, around the slot machines, into the main casino. And it was a steady, because we taped
lots of shows.
We taped the equivalent of 3 shows
in one night.
Afternoon.
Kind of like Family Feud does.
Right, sure.
5 shows in one day.
So we would do.
So that's like 4 or 5 matches. Yeah, for
15 plus matches. And so the crowd it came and went.
Right.
So we had maybe 800 to 1,000.
So you had a rotating crowd coming through.
And then when they did construction, they moved us to the convention center.
Right.
And we filled the convention center. So there was never, there was security, which we actually put in the show.
Yes.
When somebody went crazy, Heavy Metal Sisters went crazy, McLean, we need Riviera Hotel security in here. And the security ran in to subdue them. And I swear, one time when the girls are struggling, when one of the security guards' guns falls out of his pocket, and he doesn't even realize it. And I mean, but nobody in there attacked anybody.
No. Our paramedics were real paramedics.
And they became part of the show.
Yes,
too.
they did.
You know what's? I don't want to be like a wrestling smarky, but back in the WCW days, they came up with that idea to rotate in Florida, the Disney World, whatever you want to call it. They would rotate the crowd.
Right.
That's another idea stolen then from you guys, right?
We had, and I know this for a fact because I recognize one of the people in the elevator. People from WWF, and at that time it wasn't WCW, it was NWA,
right,
came to every taping to see what we
was going
did.
on.
And I was in the elevator once with one of the guys, and I knew who he was because I used to watch all types of wrestling.
That's because you're a huge wrestling fan.
I was a huge wrestling fan, as I say. And I also have an almost photographic memory. So if I saw a guy in a magazine, because I go back to the days where, and I spoke to Bill Apter about this too, his magazines told me everything about everywhere. So that's how I knew who Rip Hawk was, and that's how I knew. And they used to do stories from the Olympic Auditorium, and they had this guy from the NWA Vice President, Jeff Walton, attacked by the Sheik in one of the stories. I get on the elevator one time, there is Jeff Walton. And why is he there? Because he's coming to see the matches. Same thing, they had WWE had somebody there because they stole. I always say Vince McMahon has been stealing from me for 30 years.
Probably.
Nothing wrong with it.
And we had mentioned Daisy and Gremlina and all those. The day that aired, Daisy became free from Gremlina.
Right.
Broke her chain and all this other stuff. WWE had Hercules about to be sold into slavery by Bobby the Brain Heenan to the $1 Million Man.
Yeah.
Broke his chain and became a baby. The exact same day.
Were you ever approached by any of the major organizations to write for them?
Vince McMahon hated us.
Yeah, he didn't like
Did he
us.
really?
He would tell
McMahon-
his wrestlers, I kid you not, when we were at Nappy selling the show, WWF was there, we were over here, he told his wrestlers not to come and talk to us.
Really?
So I decided that I was going to walk around, and here comes Jesse the Bod Ventura coming towards me, and we're looking at each other knowing, and I go, we're not supposed to talk. He goes, I know, but let's talk.
That's pretty funny.
They loved us.
Yes, Vince McMahon hated us because we did
Competition.
something out of the box that, again, it took him 30 years to do. Their women's revolution was started by us.
Yeah.
We launched an entire women's show.
Yes.
And he could never do that. Remember, they kept going back to Moolah at that time.
Right.
Wendy Richter, when she got too big, he put
He
the
pulled
belt
it.
back
He
on.
squashed
Yeah,
her.
put it back on
Put back
Moolah.
on. So that he, and we did this, and McMahon hated us. And he told his wrestlers, you don't like Glow.
Yes.
And years later, I found out they all loved Glow.
And
They
going
all
to
loved
these Comic-Cons and talking, I just saw Devon
last
Dudley
weekend,
and
yeah.
Spike. Oh my God, Hollywood!
Yeah.
You're one of my favorites. Thank you for doing what you guys did.
Right.
It's just humbling. Like
Well, the show
you
was
don't know
the
this
show was
until you run
innovative.
into these guys.
Right, you guys were innovative. You're right. This is part of the whole women. You have a integral part in what's going on today. Because I'll tell you personally, Jim knows the women are my favorite part of the show. I can't even watch it, but it's not because they're just women either.
No.
They are
I think they're more
great
entertaining.
athletes. Absolutely.
They're more entertaining to watch.
So we got about
It makes it exciting.
We got about 5 minutes. So I got
Okay.
one question, and then we're going to go to I want to go into your candles. And by the way, thank you for the shout out.
I did on Busted Open
I
today.
love you for that. I was busy in meetings all day today, but
And then
on the
you
way
heard
home, I heard. I said, "Phew," I did on replay. She came through. Let me play it again.
Good.
What famous person ever asked you out on a date besides your husband?
It was
And
Sylvester.
did you ever go on that date?
I didn't. I did not. Well, there's a few, but
say the list, maybe.
there's a few. There's quite a few, but I'm going to be with Sylvester Stallone's brother, Frank.
Frank asked you.
Remember? Oh, he was all over.
He loved her.
Yeah, Frank Stallone.
Did he sing to you?
He wasn't singing back then. I don't remember him having a voice. Do you remember him?
He's quite the singer. He's a good
I heard.
singer, yeah.
Yeah. And he remembers us very well. I saw him at an Italian restaurant.
So does he call you?
No,
like,
he doesn't call me at all.
No. When he asks you on a date, like, how does that happen?
We know he was calling Matt to ask Matt, our director.
Because we used
Jackie Stallone.
Jackie Stallone. That was another thing. Remember, at the time, going back 30 years, the biggest star in the world
Was Sly.
was
Yeah.
Sylvester
Sylvester.
Stallone, who did Rocky and Rambo, and we got Mrs. Stallone as the good girl's manager.
I don't remember that.
Jackie Stallone.
Oh,
The
yeah.
horoscope. She did horoscopes.
She did
didn't
horror. She did
Yeah.
crystals.
Yeah, yeah.
She
She's
did everything.
interesting.
Still alive. By
Yes,
the way.
Is she really?
90-something.
In her 90s.
Yeah, she is.
And she brought when she would come to the tapings, and we'd have her yelling at ringside, and gave her a rap,
And she brought
everything.
Sage
and
at
she
the
brought
time.
Sage, and she brought Frank,
Yeah.
and Frank took one look at her, and
Yeah.
he wanted to go. He wanted to.
I was with
marry
David.
you.
I don't know.
He wanted to marry you.
I was dating David from Quincy, Mass.
Mm-hmm.
Boyfriend for 5 years, and
So you
I
had
was
no
in
interest
love.
in Frank.
oh, I don't know. I was just young, no interest. I don't know. I can't remember. It was too long ago. So I don't know. I was just.
I don't mean to embarrass you.
You're not.
I would
embarrassing.
have dated
If
Frank.
I was single, it would have been a different story.
Right.
So for me, I'm a one-woman man, and I just wanted to do. That's.
So when you break up with this guy, you're like, damn it, I could have went out with Frank.
Oh, there's a
Stallone.
lot of stories.
Oh,
I could,
boy.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, there's some stories.
So tell me.
My book, the bio, when that comes out.
When are you doing a bio?
So I finally, we've been talking about it for a very, very long time. I finally found somebody to help me ghostwrite that I love, Dan Murphy, who wrote Sisterhood of the Squared Circle.
Okay.
He's really good, and so hopefully maybe it
Well,
will
if it doesn't
be-
work out with him, we have our own studio producer, and he just wrote a book, Stephen Miller, on the Rascals, right?
The Rascals.
Yeah, he
Nice.
just finished with his book. So if you need anybody,
Thank
tell
you.
me about the soap.
Oh my gosh, the soap.
We're going to finish this out with the
Right.
soap.
All right. So I make homemade soaps. Love
Yes.
doing that. They're homemade. There's like 3 oils in them, some water, and a little bit of lye, but it's something that's soothing and calming, and I love it. If anyone's interested, they can go to my website, jeanniebasone.com, and find the soap. But and Christmas is coming.
Yeah.
I wouldn't bring you a soap.
God knows I need it.
No, you don't need it. But you know what? I like just homemade.
That's great.
It's just, like I said, it's peaceful and calming.
All right, so we're hoping
you
for
for
a
saying
successful soap, and we
Book?
want to see a successful book. Miller, just be on standby in the dugout in case we got to call you. And we want to see a reboot of Glow.
Yes.
So
Come on, Ursula.
I want
it.
to thank you all for joining us. I want you to send us out, Hollywood Pharaoh. Send out our guests and then call out. We're ending the show. It's on you.
All right, everybody. We just want to thank everybody for being here. I want to say thank you to Oyanka, Steve, my co-host here. Everybody have a good one and watch Monte and the Pharaoh.
And we'll catch you tomorrow from 8:05. What is it? 8:05 to 9 p.m. every Thursday. Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast. I want to thank everybody for being here. And Hollywood,
Thank
this
you
was
so
a big
much.
moment. Thank you.
I love it.
All right, we'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one.